Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve. The Kraft Cheese Company will also bring you Bing Crosby every Thursday night. Present each week at this time Harold Perry as The Great Gildersleeve, written by John Wheaton and Sam Moore. We'll hear from the Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. But first, if there are cheese lovers in your family, you're probably wondering how to adjust their appetites to your red stamp ration booklet. But that's easily solved when you learn how simple it is to extend such favorites as Pabstet, the delicious golden cheese food of 100 uses. You see, a great many of those 100 uses combine the unique cheddar cheese flavor of Pabstet with other foods for appetite-tingling results. So Pabstet becomes an economical luxury that you can use thriftily and often. Take leftover meats or vegetables or fish. Add a smooth, appetizing cheese sauce made with Pabstet, and you have another delightful main dish for another meal that's wonderfully good to eat and extra nourishing. Yes, besides adding flavor goodness when you melt or toast or slice it, Pabstet helps supply many of the milk nutrients your family needs. Milk protein, milk minerals, food energy, vitamin A, and vitamin G that's also called riboflavin. So remember the name Pabstet, the delicious golden cheese food that comes in a flat, round package. Pabstet, the nourishing cheese food of 100 uses. Now on to Summerfield and the Great Gildersleeve. It's spring in Summerfield. Lovely, lovely spring. You can feel it in the first warm rays of the sun slanting across the backyard. You can hear it in the excitement of the birds twittering in the maples and the lazy clop-clop of the milkman's horse coming up the street. You can see it everywhere. Spring does something to people, and spring has done something to Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve. For early in the morning, hours before he's due at the office, even before Bertie is astir in the kitchen, Summerfield's foremost slug-a-bed is up and dressed and out of doors. He stands now on the back stoop, barefoot, with a shoe in each hand, and dabbles a toe in the dewy grass.
It's cold. Well, anyway, here goes. It tickles.
Why, Uncle Mort!
Oh, good morning, Marjorie. You startled me. I thought I was alone.
What are you doing up so early?
Well, it was such a fine morning.
And what in the world are you doing with your shoes off?
Oh, those. Well, I suppose it's silly, my dear, but I've always had a sneaking desire to go barefoot in the dew.
You know, so have I. How is it?
Cold. Don't try it. I think I'll put my shoes back on before I catch my dad.
Yes, you better.
And, Marjorie.
Yes?
You don't have to say anything about this to anybody. You know, people might not understand.
Don't worry, Uncle Mort. I understand.
My favorite niece. Now, how am I going to get my feet dry?
Isn't it a glorious morning, Uncle Mort?
Yes, it is. It's glorious.
I love spring. I love to see things growing.
This darn grass gets between your toes.
It all feels so warm and friendly. Seems somehow as if the whole world were in love.
Well, there's one shoe on. What were you saying, my dear?
Nothing. Uncle Mort, what's it like being in love?
Being in love?
Yes. I think I know, but tell me.
Well, it's a little like an attack of chills and fever. Only nicer. Where's my other shoe? Oh, I had it. Marjorie, look. Look there.
What?
By the hedge there, sticking out of the leaf.
Why, it's a crocus.
Yeah, the first crocus of spring. Look at that little thing peeping up at us down there.
Oh, Uncle Mort, now it's really spring.
Yeah, isn't that cute?
Oh, don't pick it.
Why not?
But why? It looks so sweet there.
I know a place where it's going to look sweeter.
Oh, Uncle Mort.
There you are, little crocus. I know somebody you're going to make a big hit with.
Well, you better put it in water right away, Uncle Mort. They don't last long when you pick them.
Then I'll run over there with it right now.
But, Uncle Mort, do you think Mrs. Ransom would want to see you so early in the morning?
Why, of course. She'd be glad to see me anytime.
But before breakfast? On an empty stomach?
Huh? Well, I'll only be a minute, my dear. I'll only be a minute. That's funny. She must be here. Here comes my beautiful angel. Hello, Leela.
Throckmorton, what on earth are you doing here at this hour in the morning?
I've got something for you. Guess what?
Oh, this is no time for guessing games, Throckmorton. You woke me up.
But, Leela, it's 7 o'clock and it's spring.
Spring?
Yes. Doesn't spring mean anything to you?
Not at this hour in the morning. Please go home, Throckmorton.
Oh, look what I brought you, Leela. The first crocus. Isn't it pretty?
Yes, it's very pretty.
Yeah. Let me put it in your hair.
No, Throckmorton, and take your foot out of the door.
Why, Leela. Just one little springtime good morning kiss?
No, Throckmorton, you may not kiss me.
What?
No. In the first place, it's too early, and in the second place, you haven't shaved. Now, please take your foot from my door.
But, Leela, after all, we're engaged to be married.
Oh, we are we? Well, sir, I'm not even sure of that. Good morning.
Women.
Is that you, Uncle Mort?
Yes, my dear, it's me.
Come on in. We have company for breakfast.
Company? Oh, so it's you, hooker. Yeah. Old goat, what are you laughing at?
You look so darn silly with that crocus in your hand.
Crocus? Oh, yes, I just picked it out in the garden.
That's funny. When I came past Leela Ransom's house a moment ago, I could have sworn that you were trying to give that crocus away.
No, see here, hooker. I didn't invite you here to breakfast. What are you doing hanging around this neighborhood anyhow at this hour of the morning?
Well, I came to weed my victory garden.
Oh, yeah. With that victory garden in the lot next door, I can see we'll get plenty of drop-in trade.
Have some breakfast, Uncle Mort. Maybe it'll cheer you up.
I'll try it. Bertie.
Yes, Mr. Gildersleeve. Morning, sir.
Good morning. Put this crocus in water, please, and then bring me 2 3-minute eggs, half a grapefruit, and plenty of toast and coffee.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Bertie,
Yes, Judge?
seeing as how it's such a nice day, you can give Mr. Gildersleeve a few of those little sausages that I brought over here.
Yes, sir.
Did you say sausages, Judge?
That's right, Gildy.
Well, now, that was mighty friendly of you, although I hate to admit it.
Yep. I defended a farmer who makes his own sausage yesterday, and I took my whole fee out in trade.
I wonder if I could get him to pay his water bill in potatoes.
Goodness, here comes Superman.
Who?
Hi, sis. Hi, Uncle. Morning, Judge. Hello, Leroy.
Morning, Leroy.
Leroy, stick in your shirt tail.
Oh, it was okay when I started downstairs.
Here's your orange juice, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Thank you, Bertie.
Oh, Leroy,
Good morning, Bertie.
don't soft soap me. Was you in my cake box last night?
I know, Bertie.
Now, Leroy?
No, honest, I wasn't. Oh, Leroy, nobody's going to hang you. Why don't you own up? Oh, because I never touched the darn cake.
Wait a minute. What is all this?
It's a case of the people versus Leroy, Throckmorton. The charge is larceny of a piece of cake.
Oh, cake? Oh. Bertie, it's just possible I took a piece of cake last night.
You say it's possible, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Yes.
That's good enough for me. Case dismissed. Hang the jury in habeas corpus.
Bertie, you could very easily become a lawyer.
Don't go putting ideas into her head, Judge. She's a good cook. Get those sausages, will you, Bertie? I can smell them from here, and they're ready.
Yeah, Mr. Gildersleeve, you're right. Them sausages has reached that 0 hour.
Yeah. Then bring them on. A plate of sausages, a nice 2-hour nap, and I'll be ready to go to the office.
What's that, Bobby? Oh, you can't talk to me like that, you fresh boy, or I'll just hate you. Oh, goodbye, honey. Good morning, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Good morning. Good morning.
Bessie.
Thank you. Any mail I need to look at, Bessie?
Well, most of it could wait till tomorrow.
Oh, that's good.
And I took care of the rest.
Oh, good girl, Bessie. You're beginning to get the hang of the waterworks.
Oh, thank you, sir. There was a letter from that new laundry on State Street, and I answered it. It's on your desk for you to sign.
Oh, fine, Bessie. I'll clean up my day's work in no time. Yeah, now, let me see here. Oh, here it is. Parker Hand Laundry, Summerfield. Dear Sirs, received your inquiry about special water rates for laundries. In reply, beg to inform you we have no special water. We sell only the regular kind. Yours, that Bessie, I'm going to have to get rid of.
Oh, Mr. Gildersleeve,
What is it now, Bessie?
there's someone here to see you.
Oh, for heaven's sake, I can't see. Oh, hello, Leela.
Hello, Throckmorton.
You may go, Bessie. Well, quite a surprise seeing you here.
Throckmorton, I just had to come and see you for a minute. I'm afraid I was a little bit cross early this morning.
You hurt my feelings, Leela.
Well, I'm sorry, Throckmorton, but you have to understand that no woman likes to be seen early in the morning when she's not exactly at her best. Tell me, how do you like my new dress?
Leela, what did you mean this morning when you said you weren't sure we were engaged?
Well, I didn't mean it just the way it sounded, but sometimes I think you take me too much for granted.
Well, I always thought if you're engaged, why, you're engaged, that's all.
There you go, Throckmorton, taking things for granted.
But
You think being engaged is just sitting around holding hands and kissing and such.
You mean there's more to it?
Of course there is. Our engagement should be a preparation for our life together. While we should be spending this time trying to develop some interests in common, things we like to do together.
Well, I like to...
No, I mean besides kissing. I mean things we're both interested in. Things we like to talk about. Worthwhile things like world affairs and current events and all.
Leela, when I'm with you, I can't think about worthwhile things.
But you must try, dear. If we're going to be happy later, we must learn to be friends now.
Well, I'm willing to try if you want to. Friends. Let's start now, then. How about a nice lunch with me at Dabney's Grill? We can get a booth.
Oh, I can't possibly, Throckmorton. I'm having lunch with Marie King at the Woman's Exchange, and afterward we're going to the Red Cross. Oh, gracious, I'm late now. I must fly.
But, Leela...
Goodbye, Throckmorton, and you think about what I said now like a goodbye. Goodbye.
Good. Women. If there were no such a thing as women, this world would be a lot better place. Yeah, but who'd want to live in it? I'm going to lunch.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in a few seconds. Meanwhile, let me suggest a really practical way to add extra nourishment and extra flavor to everyday meals. Dozens of ordinary dishes turn into very special treats when you add the delicious flavor of Pabstet, the nourishing cheese food of 100 uses. For example, use Pabstet in making a macaroni casserole and see how good tasting this economical dish can be with that grand cheddar cheese flavor baked in. Or melt Pabstet into a smooth cheese sauce and see how it transforms leftovers of meat or fish into exciting main dishes for the next meal and makes even the plainest of vegetables wonderfully appetizing. Pabstet slices perfectly, too. With fruit or pie or just by itself, it tops off wartime meals with a grand touch of cheese goodness. Yes, for real flavor and for some of the vitamins and minerals your family needs, ask your dealer for Pabstet. He may not always have it on hand because so much of the nation's dairy foods are going to war that supplies sometimes run low. But watch for economical Pabstet. Buy it when you can. Pabstet, the delicious cheese food of 100 uses. Well, time mooches on. 2 hours have passed while Gildersleeve, alone in Dabney's Grill, lingered over lunch, glaring at the women around him and muttering into his salad. And now, reluctant to get back to work, he's thought up an excuse to go out to the reservoir and confer with the superintendent. I hardly need to tell you that on a spring day, there isn't a pleasanter place in Summerfield than the reservoir.
Cooler here. Charlie! Uncle Charlie! Might be in the pumping station. Charlie! Charlie Anderson! Not here. Well, it's a nice day. I'll just lie down here in the shade till he turns up. Spring. Spring, spring, you lovely thing. Bees and birds are on the wing. Listen to the way they sing. Ting-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Well, not bad.
No, Miss Gildersleeve, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Peavy, where did you come from? I didn't hear you.
Well, I learned to walk Indian fashion as a boy. See, one foot in front of the other.
Huh?
If I had moccasins on, you couldn't hear me at all.
What are you doing out here, Peavy?
Well, Gildersleeve, I could ask you the same question.
Me? I'm out here on business.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I'm waiting for the superintendent here, Charlie Anderson.
Well, in that case, I'll sit down and help you wait.
Who's tending the drugstore while you're out here, Peavy?
Mrs. Peavy.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I've been picking her some wildflowers, see? Trailing arbutus.
Looks like poison ivy to me.
Yeah, and you don't know trailing arbutus.
Maybe you don't know poison ivy.
Well, I always carry a bottle of Calamine lotion with me just to be on the safe side.
You'd better.
Care for some?
No, thanks. Peavy, speaking of poison ivy, have you ever had much to do with women?
Well, in a manner of speaking, I'm married to one.
Then tell me, Peavy, what does a woman mean when she says you've been taking her too much for granted?
I haven't heard that in 15 years.
Well, what does it mean?
Well, it usually means that she's been reading a book.
Oh.
I'll never forget the year that Mrs. Peavy subscribed to the Ladies' Home Companion. No peace that year.
Well, what'd you do?
I let the subscription run out.
Hey, you! What you think you're doing there? Don't you know this is city property?
Oh, Charlie Anderson. Wait a minute,
Go
Charlie.
on, get out of there. Get off the property. Dad busted.
Whoa there. Hold your horses, Uncle Charlie. Put on your glasses. It's me, Gildersleeve.
Oh, Mr. Gildersleeve. Well, by jiggers, it's about time. I called you up. We got to do something here. People coming out here all over the place, breaking bottles, gathering papers, like a dad-busted picnic ground.
Oh. Charlie, you know Mr. Peavy, don't you?
Of course I know him. What do you think? Know him as well as I know you.
Hello, Mr.
Folks come out here at night, too, and park in the dad-busted automobiles. Come out here to spoon. What are we running here, a waterworks or a dad-busted petting parlor?
Well, Charlie, you have to remember...
Holy Toledo.
You have to remember this is public property, and after all, boys will be boys.
Well, I don't mind the boys. It's the women. They come out here in their slacks and they're worse than the men.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Come out here and... What'd you say?
He said he wouldn't say that.
Well, what would he say?
You'll have to ask him. Would you care to enlarge on that thought, Peavy?
Well, my experience with the fair sex has been that they take a little understanding.
I'll say.
Now, Mr. Gildersleeve here has a problem.
I don't know what your problem is, Commissioner, but I'll tell you the answer. Have nothing to do with women, Dad. Bust them. Especially this time of the year.
Charlie, I'm inclined to think you're right.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Don't keep saying that. For Pete's sake, what do you know about women anyway?
Well, I've got one of them waiting at home for me right now. Can either of you gentlemen say the same?
Well, Peavy's been a bad boy today. He's been playing a little hooky.
Well, no, I wouldn't say...
Dad, bust it! There he goes again.
No offense, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Gildersleeve, if I might offer a suggestion.
Yes, Peavy?
Have you tried taking your lady friend a posy? They're usually well received.
I took her a posy. That's what started all the trouble.
What did? What did you take her?
A dad-busted crocus.
Mr. Gildersleeve, is it all right if I clear away the dishes now?
Yes, we're finished, Bertie. And that was a fine dinner.
Well, it should have been, Mr. Gildersleeve. It was pretty expensive.
Oh, really, Bertie? What did it cost?
18 red points, 16 blue points, $2 in cash, and a coffee stamp.
Well, Leroy, go get me a cigar, will you, in the den.
Okay, Unc.
And stick your shirt tail in.
Is that out again?
Well, Marjorie, I suppose Ben will be coming over this evening.
How did you guess? We going over to Mrs. Ransom's?
Well, I don't know, my dear. I'm not sure I want to.
Why, what's wrong?
Oh, nothing, really.
I told you this morning not to go rushing over there at the crack of dawn.
Well, she wants me to talk about foreign affairs or something. I don't know what she wants. Worthwhile conversation and all that kind of stuff.
Well, why don't you do it?
Me talk about foreign affairs?
Well, you wouldn't have to talk about them very long.
Huh? I don't understand.
You will. You just try it. Take a cigar, Unc. I bit the end off for you.
Oh, perhaps you'll be good enough to smoke it for me.
Yeah, sure. You got a light?
Yep. I'm fooling. Give it to me.
Hey, Unc, have you got a minute?
What do you mean, have I got a minute?
Well, I'd like to discuss something with you.
All right, my boy, let's discuss it.
Privately, I'd like to discuss it with you alone. What's this all about?
I don't know. Will you excuse us, my dear? Just step into the den here, Leroy.
Thanks, Unc.
Now, what's on your mind, young man?
Unc, could I have 53 cents to go to the movies?
I thought movies cost 35 cents.
Well, you see, I'm going with Piggy. We're each going to buy our own tickets. That's 35.
Yes?
And then we're each going to pay for half of the other ticket.
What other ticket?
Well, we have to have another ticket.
Why?
Well, we're taking somebody.
Who? Who are you taking who can't pay for his own ticket?
Well, we're taking a girl.
A girl, huh?
Yeah, Janie Owen.
You too, Leroy. Well, I suppose it was bound to come. Here's $1. Maybe she likes sodas.
Ah, thanks, Unc. Gee, you're swell. Unc, one more thing.
Now what?
Don't say anything about this to Marge.
Marge? Why not?
Because I'd just die if she found out, Unc. Honest, I'd just die.
All right, my boy. I won't say anything to your sister.
Thanks. Well, I gotta go.
Leroy.
I know. Stick my shirt tail in. Hiya, Ben. When did you blow in? So long, Marge. So long, everybody.
Well, he was in a hurry. Evening, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, hello, Ben.
Won't you take the sofa?
Oh, no. Sit still, you two. Sit still. I can sit over here if I want to.
Well, we were going out anyway, weren't we, Ben?
Huh? Oh, sure. Anything you say, Marge.
We thought maybe we'd go to the movies or something.
Yeah, we just thought we'd go to the movies.
Now, don't let me drive you out of here. I'll go into my den or someplace.
Oh, now, we don't want you to do that, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Ben.
Stick around. We weren't going to do anything.
Well, I may go out. I haven't decided. Don't let me get in your way.
Oh, you wouldn't.
Ben, let Uncle Mort do what he wants. If he wants to go in his den, let him go in his den. If he wants to go out, let him go out.
All right, my dear, I'll go. I know you young people want to be together.
Oh, honest, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Ben!
Yes, I think Ben wants to be alone. I'll go and look into the international situation next door. Hello, Leela.
Oh, hello, Throckmorton. I was hoping you might come over.
You were?
Yes. Come into the parlor, won't you?
All right.
What do you think I did after I got through with the Red Cross this afternoon?
What?
I took a walk out south of town. You know that big tall hill just before you get to the Mansfield Road? Well, I climbed up there all by myself, and I lay there in the grass and just let the spring breeze blow through my hair. I could just feel spring all over me.
Leela, the Allied forces in North Africa made definite progress today.
Really, honey?
Yes. You know what I think?
What, Throckmorton?
Well, this is just my personal analysis, of course. But after the Allies take Africa, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd use it as a base to attack Europe.
Throckmorton, you're so clever when you want to be. Now, I just would never think of anything like that, but of course you men are all so military.
Yeah. Leela, I'm thinking of joining the Book of the Month Club. I imagine it'll be very worthwhile.
Oh, I'm sure it will. All my cousins used to belong back home, and they just loved it. I used to wish I had the time to read all those books. They come pretty often, you know.
Every month?
Sit down here beside me, honey.
All right. Did you hear the symphony concert on the radio this evening?
Oh, I missed it. What did they play?
Something by Beethoven. You know, Ludwig Beethoven, the well-known composer.
Oh, yes. I just adore his symphonies, especially the Moonlight Sonata.
I thought that was a piano piece.
Oh, well, it's been arranged for the piano. Would you like me to play it for you?
Oh, you know I love to hear you play, Leela.
Strange I should think of the Moonlight Sonata when there's such a lovely moon outside, isn't it?
Yeah, huh? Yeah.
You're sure you want me to play?
Oh, please play. Yeah. Beethoven was certainly a fine composer.
Wasn't he, though?
Very classical.
What does moonlight make you think of, Throckmorton?
Lots of things.
Throckmorton, do you like this song?
Moonlight Becomes You.
I just love it when Bing Crosby sings this.
Oh. Bing Crosby, huh? Moonlight becomes you. It goes with your hair. You'll certainly know the right thing to wear. Moonlight becomes you. I'm thrilled at the sight, and I could get so romantic tonight. You're all dressed up to go dreaming. Now don't tell me I'm wrong. And what a night to go dreaming. Mind if I tag along? If I say I love you, I want you to know it's not just because there's moonlight, although moonlight becomes you so. Leela.
What is it, Throckmorton?
Leela, come out into the garden.
What for, Throckmorton?
I want to tell you about the Rummel plan. Well, Leroy, did you and Piggy have a good time at the movies with your girl?
No, not very.
What's the matter? Wasn't the picture any good?
Nah, just a lot of mushy stuff. Besides, after 2 hours, I found I'd been holding hands with Piggy.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Music on this program was under the direction of Claude Sweeten. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company and inviting you to listen in again next week for the further adventures of the great Gildersleeve.
These days, the old saying, a penny saved is a penny earned, has a running mate. A point saved is a point earned. Stretching ration stamps has become just as important as saving dollars. And one of the best ways you homemakers can do both is to buy quality foods like Parquet margarine that are good tasting and nutritious and tops for many uses. Parquet margarine has a delicious, satisfying flavor that makes it just about perfect as a spread for bread. It's a wonderful seasoning for hot vegetables. And when it comes to baking, you can depend on Parquet because it is a real flavor shortening. You like it for pan frying, too. It doesn't spatter or stick to the pan. Every economical package of Parquet margarine helps supply the energy and vitamins your family needs, is one of the best energy foods you can serve, and every pound contains 9,000 units of vitamin A. Now, if you can't buy Parquet the first time you try, it's because of wartime shortages. But Kraft is doing everything possible to keep dealers supplied and should be able to get it soon. Ask for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y, Parquet margarine made by Kraft. This program reached you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve. Cheese Company, who also bring you Bing Crosby every Thursday night, present each week at this time Harold Perry as The Great Gildersleeve, written by John Wheaton and Sam Moore. We'll hear from The Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. But first, an old proverb says that you've got to spend money to make money. Be that as it may, I'll twist that old saying around and tell you how one clever homemaker spends just 3 red ration stamps to save red ration stamps. Well, if that sounds odd, try doing what she does with Pabstet, the delicious, nourishing cheese food of 100 uses. First, make a smooth cheese sauce with Pabstet and a little milk. Then pour it over leftovers of meat or fish or vegetables or rice, fixed any way you like, and see how family appetites react to that simple magic. You've saved food and you've pleased Dad and the kids. That's worthwhile economy. They'll like the unique cheddar cheese flavor of Pabstet in a variety of other ways, too. You can melt it with macaroni for grand-tasting casseroles, toast it to perfection, or serve it sliced with dessert or just by itself. Pabstet is made to please the most particular appetites, and it's a splendid source of important milk nutrients your family needs. So ask your dealer for Pabstet, the delicious, nourishing cheese food of 100 uses. Remember the name, Pabstet. First came the horse. In time, the horse was eliminated, and a self-propelling vehicle was developed through the efforts of men like Henry Ford, Stutz, Chandler, and others. None of these could have foreseen that the culmination of all these centuries of progress would be a 1940 6-cylinder four-door sedan at the wheel of which could be found Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve. Yet that's where we find him today, just turning into his driveway and heading for the garage. Something seems to be amiss, and it sounds like the motor.
Come on, Jenny. Come on, old girl. We're almost there. Well, we made it.
Unc, is that you?
Certainly. Who does it sound like?
Barney Oldfield. What happened?
I don't know, Leroy. There's something wrong with the old bus. Stick your shirt tail in.
Yes, sir.
I stopped by the service station to get Mike to take a look at it.
Mike's been drafted.
So I discovered. I don't know what I'm going to do now. I guess I'll have to fix it myself.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. We'll all be making our own repairs sooner or later. We might as well start now.
Might as well start walking.
I guess I'll go in and get some old clothes on, Leroy. Bring that package when you come. It's on the front seat there. Cigars.
Hey, Unc, wait. I got an idea.
Oh? What's that, my boy?
How about the boyfriend?
Boyfriend? Oh, you mean Ben?
Yeah, he'll be bringing Marge home any minute. He knows all about motors and stuff.
Well, I know a few things about motors myself. I don't need any help from Ben.
Miss Gildersleeve?
Yes, Bertie?
Good evening. Have you got my groceries?
Groceries? Oh, well, I'll tell you about that, Bertie. I didn't forget. I thought about the groceries, but the way the car's acting up, I didn't dare stop.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do for dinner.
Oh, here are your cigars, Unc.
Oh, thanks. I got these before the car started acting up, Bertie.
Well, I'm sure I don't know what I'm going to do about dinner, and that's a fact.
Couldn't we just have some beans or something?
Mr. Gildersleeve, beans come out of a can. That's 14 points in the ration book.
Oh, hang the expense. Have we got any?
Well, we've got one can. I've been saving it in my hope chest.
Break it out, Bertie. This is an emergency.
If you say so, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, and Bertie.
Yes, sir?
Do you think we'll have enough to invite Marjorie's young man to stay to supper?
Well, if I stretch him, maybe.
I thought you didn't need any help from Ben, Unc.
I don't. Never mind, Bertie. Just the 3 of us. Oh, but wait. Here they come now, Marjorie and Ben. I'll just see what his plans are. Well, my dear.
Marjorie, don't act like this. Gosh, you don't understand.
I understand perfectly. And as long as you act like that, I'm going to act like this. Goodbye.
Hello, Uncle Mort. Hey, what's the matter with Her Highness?
I don't know. Sounds like trouble.
What's it going to be, Mr. Gildersleeve? Beans for 3 or beans for 4?
Beans for 3, I guess, Bertie. Come on, Leroy. Let's get at that engine.
Can I drive it after?
No, Leroy, you may not.
Just a little. Just down the driveway.
No.
Why not?
I've told you why not. You're too young and you don't know anything about cars.
I know as much as some people.
Besides, it's against the law. Now, let's get busy here. How do you open this hood? Darn thing.
Never get it open that way.
And how do you open it?
Oh, I don't know anything about cars.
Come on, Leroy. How do you open it?
You have to unlock it first.
Well, unlock it then if you know so much.
Sure. There you are. No, Unc, the other end.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. There. Now we're getting someplace. Well, look at that, the engine.
What are you going to do to it, Unc?
Fix it.
Yeah, but how?
Don't keep asking questions. I'll figure that out when I come to it.
If you ask me, you've come to it.
Well, Leroy, get me the screwdriver and we'll see what's what here. Got to get to the bottom of this.
Screwdriver. Here you are, Unc.
Thanks. Well, I guess we better unscrew something, huh?
Well, what seems to be the trouble, Unc?
I think the engine's missing, Leroy. Either that or the clutch is slipping. In either case, it's probably the carburetor. There's a little valve in there. Dirt gets into it. You just take it apart and blow into it.
How did you learn so much about carburetors, Unc?
Oh, you pick up these things, my boy. I've seen Mike do it. Now, where is the little devil? Here we are.
Unc, that's not the carburetor.
How do you know? Don't do that.
I didn't. You did it.
Huh? Oh, must have some connection with the horn.
It is the horn.
Oh. Well, the horn seems to be all right. We better try something else. Uh-oh. I don't like the looks of this.
If you're looking for the carburetor, Unc, you're getting cold.
A little less advice, young man, and we'll get along better here.
Okay.
Just to watch the way I do this, you'll be in a position to do it yourself if you ever have to. You see, I just... It sticks.
You get a shock, Unc?
And I bumped my head, too. I dropped the screwdriver in there. It's down inside the engine there.
You'll probably have to take the grease pan off to get it.
Well, how do you get the grease pan off?
Screwdriver.
Fine. What did Marjorie have to go and get in a fight with Ben for? Well, I'll just have to see if I can reach down in there and get it. Unless you want to try, Leroy.
Your arms are longer than mine, Unc.
Well, agility counts, too, you know.
Yeah, but I don't know as much about cars as you do.
All right.
Want me to boost you in there, Unc?
No, keep away from me. Greasy, filthy, dirty, nasty, filthy, dirty, nasty, filthy. I got it.
Well, the boy mechanic.
Who's that?
His Honor. Hi, Judge.
Hello, Leroy. Throckmorton, what have you been up to? Look at you. Grease all over your shirt. You're a mess.
Yeah, I know it.
What seems to be the trouble, Gildy?
The engine's missing.
Well, have you notified the police?
Oh, 23 skidoo, hooker. What do you want in here anyway?
Well, I just dropped in to ask for the loan of a rake, Gildy. I thought I'd do a little work on my victory garden. But if I can be of any assistance to you
Give
here...
him the rake, Leroy.
Okay. Unc's been looking for the carburetor, Judge, and I tried to tell him that's it.
Where?
Right there.
The boy is absolutely right, Gildy. Any fool knows that.
What do you know about it, you old grampus? You and your reel. I bet it hasn't even got a carburetor.
There's an old saying, Gildersleeve, there are none so blind as those who will not see. Go on, pull your car to pieces, scatter it all over the place, but when you've finally taken everything else apart, you'll discover that is the carburetor.
You don't have to make a speech about it.
I'll take that rake now, Leroy, if you'll be so good.
Here you are, Judge.
I shall return it.
See that you do.
Thanks.
You're welcome. The old windbag. He could be right, though. Leroy, just for the sake of argument, suppose we take this little gadget apart here, huh?
Now you're getting somewhere. You're going to need a wrench for that, though.
After all the work I went to fish this screwdriver out?
Yeah, you might as well throw it back in. Here, let me see if this'll fit.
Leroy, I'm doing this.
Okay. You getting it?
Yeah, it's coming.
Attaboy.
Uncle Mort.
Oh, what does she want?
Leroy.
What do you want?
Leroy, don't holler in my ear.
Supper.
Be right there.
Oh! No, you did it. There goes the carburetor all over the lot.
Who did it? What did you let go for?
Why did you shout for
Who
it?
shouted?
Well, who let go? It came apart in my hand. If you hadn't shouted, I wouldn't have dropped it. I told you not to shout.
Uncle Mort!
All right!
How did you make out with the car, Uncle Mort? Is it a powerhouse now?
Well, not exactly, my dear, but I think I've definitely located the trouble. Carburetor.
Well, what's wrong with the carburetor? It's all over the garage.
Eat your beans.
Well, I only hope you'll get it finished by tomorrow. Brady and I have some shopping to do, haven't we?
We sure have. Got to get all the groceries for the weekend.
Well, you can always have them delivered if you have to.
Not no more.
The A1 grocery doesn't deliver now?
No, sir. With them, it's strictly come and get it.
And the last one gets a rotten egg.
That's right. You have to go down there in person and raffle for it.
Yes. Well, Leroy can always run down on his bicycle.
Nope, flat tire.
Oh, well.
Oh, come clean, Uncle Mort. Aren't you going to get that car put together by tomorrow?
Oh, I'll get it put together. Don't worry about that. I'll get it put together. Just hope it'll run, that's all.
Unc, why don't you just break down and get Ben to help you? He could fix it in no time.
Young man, when I want any advice from you, I'll break down and ask for it.
Okay. Can I be excused?
You may be excused, Leroy. And stick your shirt tail in.
Okay.
By the way, Marjorie, speaking of Ben, why don't we have him to supper tomorrow,
Uncle Mort, you know perfectly well that Ben and I are not speaking.
Since when?
Since 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh, no, I'm sorry to hear that.
We're not going to be speaking till Ben makes up his mind.
About what?
Whether he's a man or a mouse.
Oh, I don't think you're being fair to Ben, my dear. He's a little shy, perhaps.
A little?
But he's a fine, capable lad, and I don't like to hear you say...
Capable of putting a car together, maybe, but he's not capable of making up his own mind.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
He won't speak up. He lets people walk all over him. No woman wants to marry a man like that.
Has he asked you to marry him?
No, that's another thing. It's not what I'm mad about.
What are you mad about?
Well, down at the plant today, a job opened up in Ben's department. And did Ben get it? No, Chet Healy got it.
Who, that loudmouth?
Yes. Well, at least he had the nerve to walk into the front office and talk to them. Not Ben, though. No, Tar Baby, he ain't say nothing.
Yeah.
So now he's working for Chet.
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, it burns me up. Ben knows 3 times as much as Chet does. 5 times. How's anyone going to find it out if he never opens his mouth?
Well, you seem to have found it out.
That's different.
Yeah.
Trouble with Ben is he's just too nice. Everybody imposes on him and he lets them. Every time he comes over here, you get him to work on something.
Telephone, my dear.
It's probably Piggy.
All right. You don't want to be too hard on Ben, my dear. You could do a lot to help him if you
I'm
don't...
not interested.
Gildersleeve's wet wash. We pick up and deliver.
Oh, sure. I thought you were Piggy.
Just a minute. Marge, it's Ben.
Ben?
Here's your chance, Unc.
Tell Ben I don't care to speak to him.
Wait a minute now. You can't tell him that, my dear. Tell him to hold on, Leroy. Tell him I'll speak to him.
Just a minute. Unc wants to speak to you.
Uncle Mort, if you ask him over here, I won't see him.
Now, be fair, my dear. We haven't had him over here in several days, and I think it'd be only decent...
And if you use me as an excuse to get him over here to help you with that car, I won't speak to you.
Why, Marjorie, I'm hurt that you would even think such a thing. Be right there, Leroy.
Here he comes.
Here, give it to me. Hello, Ben. How are you, my boy? Just fine. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. Marjorie? Well, I'll tell you, Ben, she's in the bathtub right now.
Uncle Mort.
Yeah, taking a bath, Ben. You know, all wet. Is there any message I can give her?
There's a message you can give him. Tell him I don't care if I never see him again.
She's dying to see you, Ben, and she wants to know if you'll come over to supper tomorrow night.
I said nothing of the kind. If he comes over here, you can entertain him.
Fine. She says to come early, about 2 o'clock. Yeah, we'll play games, Ben. Yeah. And, oh, Ben, be sure to wear old clothes.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in a few seconds. But first, let me ask, are you homemakers shopping before you go to the store these days? Now that it takes 2 kinds of money to buy so many foods, red ration stamps as well as cash, you'll find that planning in advance will save many vexing moments. For each meal, plan the main dish first. Then carefully build the rest of the meal around it, using your newspaper list of point values. That way you can be sure that family appetites will be tempted and that meals will be satisfying because they're well balanced. If you want to surprise the family with a real treat that's economical with both red ration stamps and cash, in planning your meals for this week, include the delicious cheese food Pabstet. Pabstet has a unique cheddar cheese flavor that's grand with main dishes, or serve it as a smooth cheese sauce with leftovers in a variety of ways. Pabstet's wonderfully nourishing, too. It's a fine source of many vitally important milk nutrients your family needs. Now, you may not be able to buy Pabstet the first time you try because so much of the nation's dairy food is going to war. But watch for it and buy Pabstet when you can. Just 3 red ration points for a generous package. Remember the name Pabstet, Pabst-ETT. Pabstet. Now back to our hero. His plans are progressing favorably since after a good night's sleep, Marjorie seems more or less reconciled to the thought of seeing Ben. It's afternoon now, and we find Gildersleeve lying on the floor of his garage working on his long-suffering car, assisted by the long-suffering Leroy.
Yeah, I think she's coming now, Leroy.
You'll be sorry, Unc.
Don't be silly, my boy. I've got a suspicion the whole trouble is right in here.
And that's what you said yesterday when you took off the carburetor.
Well, when Ben gets here, he'll confirm my theory, I'm certain.
You're going to make him work too, ain't you, Unc?
I'm not making anybody work, Leroy. I'm entirely opposed to the principle of slave labor. If you're not interested in what you're doing, you may go.
Oh, boy.
Leroy!
Can't I go?
No. Only said that to test your character.
I'd like it better if I could do some of the hammering down under there. You sure gave me the worst part of this job.
Yeah, but yours is a very important part, my boy. Be patient.
Oh, nuts.
Yeah.
Well, Leroy, if you aren't a model for a Christian martyr, what on earth are you doing?
Can't you see?
Well, I can see you standing there with a vacant look on your face, holding that blanket as if you were going to catch somebody jumping out of a burning building.
Don't make fun of Leroy, Marjorie. He's helping me with an important job.
Oh, you're down under there. What's Leroy doing?
Well, I'm trying to knock the timing gear loose.
And once she busts loose, I catch all the pieces in the blanket.
Are you kidding?
No.
Well, in that case, I want you both to hold still while I go get my camera.
Huh?
I want to record this for posterity.
Hi, Marjorie.
Hello, Ben.
Hiya, Ben.
Hi, young fella.
I'll be right back, Ben. I want to get my camera and take a picture of these 2 idiots.
2? Where's your uncle?
I'm under here, young.
Oh, gosh. I mean...
Don't let Uncle Mort talk you into any work on that car now.
Oh, don't worry, Marjorie. I won't get under there. New suit.
Nice, too. Well, I won't be a second.
Leroy, give me a hand. I want to come up and see Ben for a minute.
Okay, Unc. Blow out all your breath and pull in your stomach. Heave-ho!
Well, hello, Ben. Glad to see you.
Glad to see you, Mr. Gildersleeve. Doing a little repairing, I see.
Yes, I am repairing. It's every motor's duty in wartime. By the way, I'm having a little trouble getting this gadget loose here, Ben. I wonder if you'd mind just slipping under there and having a little peek.
Oh, I'm afraid I couldn't, Mr. Gildersleeve. Not in these clothes. New suit.
Well, now don't you worry, my boy. I wouldn't have you spot that suit for the world. Here, slip into these overalls.
Oh, but gee, Mr. Gildersleeve.
No trouble at all, my boy. Here.
But Marjorie said
You'll never know. Leroy won't tell, will you, Leroy? Why, that little... He sneaked off. Marjorie will never know, Ben. Here, you'll be under there and out again before she gets back.
Yeah, but she only wants to get a camera.
That's what she said, my boy. But I guess we know women, don't we?
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Yeah. That's the stuff. Here's the wrench. You see that thing that's holding it?
Yeah, I think so.
Atta boy. Here she comes.
Well, I've got the camera and it's all loaded. Where's Ben?
Ben?
Yes, Ben. Where did he go? Uncle Throckmorton, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Now, Marjorie.
And you should be ashamed, too, Ben Waterford.
Now, wait a minute, Marge.
And his new suit, too. How could you do it, Uncle Mort?
Overalls. Besides, it was really his own idea, Marjorie. He practically insisted.
I don't believe it. Well, Ben, aren't you coming out of there?
What'd you say, Marge?
I said, I suppose you're going to stay down there all day.
Oh, no, I'll come right out.
But, Ben, did you get the whatchamacallit loose?
No, I didn't.
And he's not going to.
Well, it'll only take a second, Marge.
Oh, well, you listen to me, Ben Waterford. You haven't any more spine than a piece of spaghetti. You let yourself be pushed around down at the factory by a boy with half your ability. And then you come out here and let yourself be pushed around by a lazy old man with a big stomach.
Oh! Marjorie!
Goodbye.
Hey, Marge. Hey. Well, stop her, Mr. Gildersleeve. Oh, gosh. Let me get out of here. Wait till I get...
Overalls?
New suit. Where did Marge go?
She went out the front gate, Ben, and down the street.
Oh, golly, I can't chase her in these torn pants. What'll I do?
Don't worry, lad. You'll be all right. Oh, it was wonderful the way you stood your ground there.
Oh.
By George, you certainly told her, Ben. Yes, sir, that was a mighty fine supper. Aren't you glad you stayed now, Ben?
Well, pretty glad. Yes, sir.
Oh. Well, let's get at that car again. What do you say?
You don't suppose Marjorie might be coming in soon?
Don't worry about her. She'll turn up soon enough. She's probably seeing the early show at the Majestic. Might just as well work on the car till she gets here, Ben.
Well, I want to talk to her before I go. But in the meantime...
That's the spirit. We'll both work on it, and before you know it, zingo.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Oh, my goodness.
What's the matter?
I'm clean out of cigars, practically. Tell you what, I'll run down to the drugstore and pick up a couple while you get started. Then I'll come back and zingo. Hello, Peavy.
Good evening, Mr. Gildersleeve. How can I be of service to you?
Give me a couple of cigars, will you, Peavy? And make it snappy. I'm in a hurry.
Yes, sir. Here they are. Yeah, 50, 75, $1, and I thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, how's business, Peavy?
A little quiet, Mr. Gildersleeve. I lay it all to this rationing.
Rationing, but they're not rationing drugs, Peavy.
And that's just the trouble. The ration stuff gets all the publicity.
I see. Well, got to get going. Oh, got a match, Peavy?
Oh, yes. Always got a Lucifer on me somewhere for a good customer. Here.
Thanks. Well, got to be running along.
In a rush, eh? Going to a picture?
No, I'm fixing my automobile, and I've got to get back and finish the job.
Well, it's too bad you're in such a hurry.
I can't help it. Why? What if I wasn't?
Well, I was just thinking, business being so quiet and all, that maybe you and I could play just one game of Chinese checkers.
Yeah, here? Now?
Yes, it only takes about a half an hour. I've got the board here with the hot water bags.
Yeah, well, I've got to get back to that car, Peavy. Besides, Chinese checkers is a kid game. There's no skill to it.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
There's nothing to the game, Peavy.
There's more to it than you think, Mr. Gildersleeve. I'll tell you what I'll do. If you beat me, I'll give you a 10-cent soda on the house.
Well, just one game, Peavy, but we'll have to play fast because I'm in a hurry. Hello, Ben. Now, let's get at that car now, huh?
Oh, it's all finished, Mr. Gildersleeve. Just finished a minute ago.
Well, can you beat that? I'm much obliged to you, my boy.
Well, that's okay.
Now we can sit here on the porch and enjoy the spring evening for a while.
Yeah.
Something accomplished, something done to earn a night's repose. Longfellow. Darn rocking chair has a bad squeak. You notice it?
Yes, sir. But I don't know anything about rocking chairs. You didn't happen to see Marjorie on the way to the drugstore, did you?
No, Ben, I didn't. But don't you worry about her. She's probably at the home of one of her girlfriends playing Chinese checkers. She probably wishes she was here right this minute.
Well, you think so?
No doubt about it. She'll be along soon.
Gee, I guess you must know quite a bit about women, don't you, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Well, I've been around quite a while, my boy. You get so you can figure them out. Tell what a woman's thinking just by looking at her.
Gosh, that must be a neat trick. When I'm with a girl, I can't seem to think at all.
Can't think?
No, I just sit there and sizzle.
Well, that's not the way to captivate a woman, Ben.
It sure isn't. What do you suppose Marjorie's got against me, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Why, that's as simple as ABC, young man. You're not using any finesse.
Any what?
You gotta be smooth, Ben. Look at the men the women go for in pictures. Look at Adolphe Menjou.
Yeah, and look at me.
Well, I'm sorry about your suit, Ben.
Oh, that's all right. Gosh, I couldn't be like Adolphe Menjou anyway. I tried to raise a mustache once.
What was the trouble?
Well, came out pink.
Pink?
Yep. Been shaving pretty close ever since.
Oh, there's a car turning down our street.
Yeah, whose is it?
Oh, it's probably Marie King driving Marjorie home.
Hey, has Marie got a 42 convertible?
No, that's not Marie.
No, it isn't. That's Chet Healy.
Chet Healy? What? Marjorie!
Oh, hello, Uncle Mort. I didn't see you there in the dark. Oh, hello, Ben.
Hello.
Uncle Mort, I want you to meet Chet Healy. I've told you about him.
How do you do?
Well, how are you, Mr. Gildersleeve? Say, who's that with you? Well, if it isn't my new assistant. Hiya, Junior.
Hello.
Yeah, we just saw a great picture, and then we had a good look at a wonderful moon. This is a mighty attractive little niece you've got there, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, you think so?
Yes, sir. I'd like to be an uncle to her myself. Say, Junior, what happened to your Sunday suit? What's the matter? Cat got your tongue?
How would you like a punch in the nose?
Oh, Ben.
Now, don't worry, honey. Nothing's going to happen to me.
That's what you think.
Well,
say, this is quite a spectacle. I'll referee.
There, Mr. Healy, you asked for it. In the future, keep away from my girl.
Oh, Ben, I never thought Well, you're wonderful. Can you ever forgive me?
Well, I don't know. You keep picking on me as if I didn't know what I was doing. You treat me like a child, and I'm sick of it. If you're going to be my girl, you've got to let me say what's what from now on.
Oh, Ben, I will.
Well, that's telling her, Ben. I'm glad to see you're following my advice.
Your advice? Mr. Gildersleeve, you're full of wet hay.
Oh! Leroy, what are you doing up? What are you doing at that window?
Come over here and get a load of this, Unc. You can hear the two lovebirds out on the porch.
Why, Leroy?
Ooh, is that Ben laying it on?
You get away from that window, young man. I'm surprised at you.
What did I do?
Don't you know that eavesdropping is wrong? It's dishonorable to listen in on other people's conversation. Don't ever let me catch you doing that again. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Leroy, did he kiss her?
What do you think?
Good night, my boy. Good night, everybody.
Music on this program was under the direction of Claude Sweeten. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company and inviting you to listen in again next week for the further adventures of the great Gildersleeve.
Here's a question for homemakers. What delicious, nourishing spread for bread is economical with both red ration stamps and money? The answer? Parquet margarine, the quality spread made by Kraft. Parquet margarine has a delicate, appetizing flavor that is grand with bread and toast and rolls. It's a fine seasoning for hot vegetables, a real flavor shortening for baking. It is especially good for pan frying because it doesn't spatter or stick to the pan. And besides being wonderfully good to eat, Parquet is highly nutritious. In fact, it is one of the best energy foods you can serve. What's more, it is fortified with important vitamin A. So for flavor, for good nutrition, and for all-around economy, ask your dealer for Parquet margarine. If he doesn't have Parquet the first time you ask for it, it's because of wartime shortages and because more and more people are asking for Parquet every day. But Kraft is doing everything possible to keep all dealers supplied. So watch for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y, Parquet margarine made by Kraft. This program has reached you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve.
Yeah.
Cheese Company, who also bring you Bing Crosby every Thursday night, present each week at this time Harold Perry as the Great Gildersleeve, written by John Wheaton and Sam Moore. We'll hear from the Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. But first, with food shoppers everywhere thinking in terms of ration stamps as well as money, let me suggest a way to economize with both. Yes, and supply a mealtime variety that'll really make your family sit up and take notice. Here's the secret. The next time you plan a shopping trip, include on your list Pabst-Step, the delicious, nourishing cheese food. For just 3 red ration points and surprisingly few pennies, you buy a generous package of cheese goodness that's a real help in preparing wartime meals. The tantalizing cheddar cheese flavor of Pabst-Step is grand with economical rice or macaroni dishes, and Pabst-Step toasts and slices to perfection. Or you can melt it to a smooth golden cheese sauce that does wonders with leftovers of meat or fish or vegetables. Pabst-Step is a fine source of important milk nutrients, too. Milk protein, milk minerals, food energy, vitamin A, and vitamin G that's also called riboflavin. So remember the name, Pabst-Step, the economical red stamp value. In the diary of Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve, a monumental work as yet unpublished, we find in the Spencerian hand of the great man himself this entry.
Dear Diary, today I made a vow. I'll never speak to Judge Horace Hooker again. As long as I live, I'll never speak to him. Even if he comes crawling to me on his hands and knees, I'll never speak to him. Even on my deathbed. There are some things a man cannot forgive a friend, and one of them is stabbing him in the back when he isn't looking.
And thereby hangs a tale. It was on the morning of Friday, April 9th. The time, 8:30. Thank you. Our friend Gildersleeve was glancing through the paper while awaiting the arrival of Judge Hooker, with whom he was to share a ride to the office.
Uncle Mort, if you have to be at the office by 9, you better get going.
Oh, my goodness. Is that clock right?
As far as I know.
Bertie, call up and find out what time it is, will you?
Yes, sir.
They won't give you the time anymore, Uncle Mort.
Well, I'd like to know why not.
Must be a military secret.
Then, by George, you can call them up and tell them they can come and take their phone out of here.
Oh, Uncle Mort, cool off.
I mean it. Tell them to take it out today. I don't want it around.
Yes, sir.
Can't give us the time. What good is a telephone if you can't? Leroy, turn on the radio. See if you can get a time signal.
Okay, Unc.
Not a clock in the whole house you can depend on. Can't depend on clocks. Can't depend on the phone company. Can't depend on the judge. Ye gods, and I have to be at the mayor's office at 9 o'clock. Oh! Leroy! Turn off that radio.
But you told me to turn it on.
What is this, a madhouse?
Are you asking me?
Yes. Never mind. I can't wait for the judge any longer. I'll just have to take my own car.
If you're in a hurry, Unc, I'll back it out for you.
You'll do nothing of the kind. You can go and open the garage for me, though.
Okay. Got the key?
Keys? Where are they? If Judge Hooker's got my keys now...
Judge Hooker hasn't got your keys.
Bertie, have you seen my... Oh, somebody put them in my pocket.
Probably the brownies.
Yes. And don't be fresh. Here. Now my coat.
Mr. Gildersleeve, what about that coffee? It's about ready.
I'm sorry, I haven't got time for it now.
Better take an umbrella, Uncle Mort. Looks like rain.
I haven't got time for rain.
Mr. Gildersleeve, we can't throw out coffee. You like coffee jelly?
Don't bother me now about coffee jelly. I have to see the mayor. Oh, where's Leroy?
He went out to the garage.
If Judge Hooker turns up, don't forget to tell him.
Tell him what?
What did you say?
What shall I tell him?
Don't ask me. I'm late already.
Oh, this is going to be one of his bad days.
Oh, Bertie!
Yes, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Be sure and have whipped cream on it.
Whipped cream on what?
The coffee jelly.
You want me to start the car, Unc? I'll warm it up for you.
No.
I thought you were in a hurry.
I am in a hurry. Now, don't keep asking me that. I don't want you fooling around with the car. You'll wreck it.
Ignition.
Stick in your shirt tail, Leroy.
It is in.
Well, get off the running board.
Okay. Give it a little choke, Unc.
Out of the way, Leroy. This is Friday, young man. Don't forget the ash cans.
I can't hear you.
I said don't forget the ash cans.
Unc, watch out.
What? Hey! Where do you think you're... Hooker.
Gildersleeve.
This is a fine time to show up.
What's the idea of backing into me?
Who backed into you? It's a wonder some people wouldn't look where they're going.
Well, I had the right of way. I was coming...
It's my driveway, isn't it?
Well, it's not your street.
Uncle, you all right?
I'm all right, but look at that rear fender.
Yeah, look at my bumper. How'd I know you were coming out of there?
Are you deaf? I blew my horn.
Yeah, after you crashed into me.
Leroy, didn't I blow my horn? You saw it happen.
Yes, you saw it happen, Leroy. He backed into me, didn't he?
Backed into him. He was going a good 40 miles an hour in a residential district with children all around and inadequate brakes. You saw it, didn't you, Leroy?
Sorry, I didn't see a thing.
Leroy!
Honest, I was tying my shoes.
Your shoes are untied right now, both of them.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yes.
Oh, my land, what happened, Judge? Are you all right?
Is he all right? What about me?
I had a narrow escape, Bertie, but fate spared me this time. By the way, you witnessed the crime, didn't you?
Crime?
Well, all I know is I was looking out the kitchen window.
Good. Now tell me if this isn't the way it happened. I was coming down the street, well over to the right, looking in both directions and going not over 8 or 9 miles an hour, when this wild man came charging out.
Bertie, don't you get mixed up in this. You go into the house.
Yes, sir.
You can't do that, Gildersleeve. She's my witness.
Well, she's my cook.
By golly, if I have to, I'll subpoena her.
Oh, you hear that, Bertie? He's going to subpoena you.
That's all, brother. This is getting too hot here for me.
Gildersleeve, I charge you with intimidating a witness.
You intimidated her, you and your subpoenas. You go racing around town in that juggernaut of yours, that death car, that Rio.
Just a minute, Gildersleeve.
What's your license number, Hooker?
You can read, can't you? It's right there on the plate.
Write it down, Leroy, before he gets away. By George, I'll see my lawyer about this.
Go right ahead. I'm your lawyer. I can tell you haven't got a leg to stand on.
No? Well, I haven't got a lawyer either. I just fired him. Listen to that fender. It's hanging by a thread.
What are we stopping here for, huh?
I've got to see a man about my insurance.
C. Harvey Diggs, real estate and insurance.
I want to show him the damage while it's fresh.
C. Harvey Diggs. Is he kidding?
Just hop out, Leroy. You better run for it. You'll be late to school.
Okay. So long, Unc.
Goodbye, and watch out for cars. You never know what maniac will be driving these days.
Mr. Gildersleeve. Well, come in.
Hello, Diggs.
I heard you and Judge Hooker had a little run-in this morning.
How did you hear that? It didn't happen 20 minutes ago.
Oh, news travels in this town, you know. Glad there wasn't any damage?
No damage. You ought to see my automobile. Whole rear fender smashed to a pulp.
Well, these little things will happen. That's why we have insurance companies. Sit down.
I can't. I've got to see the mayor, Diggs. Say, you know that policy you sold me?
On your automobile, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I have...
You know, I've always been sorry I couldn't interest you in that little life insurance plan I drew up for you. I'd like to see you have that protection, Gildersleeve.
Right now, I'm interested in the automobile.
I know, it's only human. We keep putting it off. But it's something we all have to face sooner or later. Now, only the other day I had a man come to me. He happened to be a very important executive here in town. You'd know him at once if I were to tell you his name. I'd been after that man for 5 years. And only the other day he said to me, Diggs, he said, I don't know how to thank you for what you've done for me.
Good. I'm glad he's taken care of. Now let's talk about me. I have this policy
yes,
on my...
just what I was getting to. Now, that's a very fine policy you've got there, as far as it goes. But it doesn't go far enough.
You sold it to me.
Mr. Gildersleeve, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever considered what would become of your loved ones in the event that you were suddenly to pass on?
Mr. Diggs, I'm going to give you an answer. I'm likely to pass on right now to the next insurance man if you won't listen to me.
Huh?
All I'm interested in is collecting on the policy I've got.
Well, you're the doctor, Mr. Gildersleeve. Yes, sir, that's what we're here for, to service our customers.
Good. I've got the policy right here. I can't make head or tails out of it.
Well, now, we'll just have a look. Now, let's see. Bodily injury, property damage, collision or upset, comprehensive.
What does it say?
Mr. Gildersleeve, that's a very fine piece of protection you've got there. My advice to you would be to hold on to it.
What do you mean?
Providential Mutual Fire and Loss, that's one of the biggest insurance companies in the state of Rhode Island.
And Rhode Island is one of the smallest states in the Union.
Well, we can't always judge by size, you know. The Providential Mutual has been serving the public now for 48 years. I had the pleasure of visiting the home office back there in 1923. In fact, I had the pleasure of dining with one of the vice presidents. Oh, he has a lovely home there, just outside of Providence.
Well, I'm glad he's living well. You didn't happen to ask him about that busted rear fender on my automobile.
Fender?
Yes, I had a little accident this morning, remember? I ran into Judge Hooker. Hooker ran into me. Smashed my fender. I'd like to collect.
Mr. Gildersleeve, that's one thing I'll say for the Providential Mutual. They settled promptly.
Good.
No argument, no waiting around. They pay up.
Great.
However, the type of policy you have here doesn't happen to cover this particular type of accident.
What?
Now, don't misunderstand me. It's a very fine policy and has some very fine features. But for this kind of coverage, I'd suggest a different type of policy. Now, if
Diggs, tell me something. Do you carry insurance?
Why, of course. I wouldn't be without it.
Well, I hope it covers a punch in the nose. You got your allowance Monday, Leroy, in advance.
I know. I'm just offering to hang up your coat.
Yeah, there's something more to this.
How did it go today, Uncle Mort? Oh, like that?
Yeah, like that. Get this machine gun out of here, Leroy. A man can't even sit down in his own chair.
Sorry, Unc. How did you come out on the insurance?
Oh, dandy.
What do you mean?
Well, it seems I have a policy, but no insurance. If I want to collect, I'll have to collect from Hooker. And if Hooker wanted to sue me, I wouldn't have an ounce of protection.
Oh, he wouldn't sue you. He's a friend of yours.
He was a friend of mine.
That old gink would sue his own mother.
Leroy.
I'm inclined to believe you're right, my boy.
I don't think you ought to talk that way about Judge Hooker.
You ought to hear what he says about you. Hey, Marge, when's dinner? I'm starved.
I don't know. You'll have to ask Bertie.
But I'm dying.
Well, go outside and die. Uncle Mort, I think you and the judge are acting like a couple of schoolboys.
Huh?
You had a little accident, and you were both in the wrong. Now, why don't you admit it?
Who was in the wrong? I was backing out of my own driveway, watching very carefully, and the first thing I know...
Hey, come here.
What do you want?
Come with me. Out to the kitchen.
What for, Leroy? What's up?
Never mind. Just be quiet.
What's all the mystery about?
No. Don't open the door. Just listen.
Young man, I've told you what I thought of eavesdropping. I told you I never...
Now, Bertie, you said you were looking out the kitchen window at the time the accident occurred.
Hooker.
No, Judge, I didn't say that. That is not exactly.
Now, Bertie, remember, nothing you say here is going to be used against you.
Yeah, not against her, maybe.
Well, I don't know if I ought to say anything, Judge. Mr. Gildersleeve might not like it.
Well, don't you worry about Mr. Gildersleeve, Bertie. If he has anything to say, you always know where you can get a job.
Oh! Well, Hooker, if there's anything lower than a man who would run down a friend when he wasn't looking, it's a man who would sneak in his back door and steal his cook.
I have not been sneaking in any back doors.
Oh, no?
No. I merely happened to be taking a shortcut across the lot here.
And dropped in for a handout, I suppose. Bertie.
I didn't want to say nothing, Mr. Gildersleeve, honest.
I'm not blaming you, Bertie.
I just didn't want no hoppers coppers, that's all.
It just happens, Gildersleeve, that Bertie is a legal witness, and I have a legal right to question her.
Well, you go take a legal walk for yourself. You're trespassing on private property here, Judge. I'll have you charged with breaking and entering, as well as coaching a witness.
Don't quote the law at me, my friend.
Don't you call me your friend. As far as I'm concerned, I'll never speak to you again. And kindly have the decency not to address me. Now get out of here.
I shall be delighted.
And put back that cupcake.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in a few seconds. Meanwhile, here's a tip for homemakers. The way to spend red ration stamps to best advantage is to plan family meals several days in advance, using a list of point values as your guide. That way you can make sure that meals are good tasting and well balanced and provide the variety your family likes. And as you plan, be sure to include quality foods like Pabstet, the delicious cheese food that's good in such a wide variety of ways. You'll find that Pabstet is a grand help for your wartime budget because it costs only a few cents and just 3 red ration points per package. And whether you melt or toast or slice it, the whole family will go for its grand cheddar cheese flavor. What's more, Pabstet's a fine source of important milk nutrients and is highly digestible. Now, your dealer may not have Pabstet the very first time you try to buy it because so much cheese and other dairy foods are going to war. But everything is being done to keep dealers supplied. So ask for Pabstet, Pabst-ETT, Pabstet, the delicious, nourishing cheese food. get back to the great Gildersleeve. About 24 hours have passed since his epic crash with Judge Hooker, so we find him once more about to set out for the office. A trifle earlier than usual, though, since he knows that today he'll have to walk to work.
Is there any more oatmeal, Bertie?
I'm sorry, Mr. Gildersleeve, but we is oatless.
Some more toast then, I guess. Or are we breadless?
No, sir, not quite.
Leroy,
Yeah, Unc?
finish your oatmeal.
Oh, gee, you're hungry, so I gotta eat.
I'm not hungry. I simply wish to store up energy.
Well, gosh, I don't have to walk to the city hall.
That will do, young man. Answer that, please, and stick your shirt tail in.
Okay.
Yoo-hoo, Throckmorton.
It's your girl, Unc.
My fiancée, young man. In here, Leela.
Oh, Throckmorton, you poor darling. Are you all right?
What? What am I? What?
Well, I heard about your accident. Oh, my poor baby, my precious lamb.
Well,
Oh, for corn's sake.
Go away.
You told me to finish my oatmeal.
Never mind your oatmeal. Go to school.
It's Saturday.
Then just get out of here. Scat.
Okay.
Throckmorton, are you sure you're all safe and sound?
Of course I'm safe and sound.
Oh, but it must have been such a frightful crash. Judge Hooker says...
Judge Hooker?
Yes. He says you were going 40 miles an hour.
Leela, I was going backwards.
Oh, that's what makes it so hideous.
Leela, did Judge Hooker tell you this?
No, Throckmorton. He told Sarah Pettibone, and Sarah told me.
What else did she say that he said, the big faker?
Well, just that you wrecked his car completely and that he was lucky to live to tell the tale.
Leela, he almost wrecked my car. He was tearing down the street like he was drunk or crazy. What's more, it never even scratched him.
Oh, well, I imagine Sarah got it mixed up. I'm glad you're feeling all right anyhow, Throckmorton.
Well, I'm glad you're glad, Leela. Hooker's going to pay me damages, too. He'll pay me if I have to sue him.
Well, will they cost quite a bit, Throckmorton?
Well, so far, only $2 for my fender. But I imagine there'll be internal injuries.
There always are. Well, you take good care of yourself now, Throckmorton, because I want you to do something for me this evening.
What is it, Leela?
Well, I want you to come to a meeting of my Red Cross committee tonight.
Red Cross committee? Mm-hmm. I can't roll bandages. I can't even roll a cigarette.
Oh, no, silly. This is to raise money.
Oh, well, I can't say no to that, can I? What time?
Well, I told everybody 8 o'clock, but I think it would be nice if you came over a little early. Could you?
For you, I could.
Oh, you cute boy, you.
Now, wait a minute, Leela. Hooker isn't on this committee, is he? If he's on it, I won't have anything to do with it.
Oh, of course, Throckmorton. I mean, of course not. Oh, well, I've got to be getting back to my housework.
Oh, my goodness. I've got to get down to the office.
Yes, dear. Oh, I'm glad nothing happened to my precious fiancé. Goodbye, darling. I'll see you this evening.
Goodbye, Leela. Got to get going. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bertie.
Here's your toast, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, thank you, Bertie. Why, this toast is cold.
Well, sir, I didn't want to interrupt anything.
There's nothing to interrupt. Bertie, we might have supper a little early this evening, so I'll be able to finish by 7.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, then I'll have time to...
Hey, come to the window, quick.
The window? What's the matter, Leroy?
Wait till you see what's going past the house. Here, out this window.
This better be good, young man, or I won't like it.
Good, but you won't like it.
Yeah. I can't believe it.
What is it, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Judge Hooker on crutches.
My goodness. What's the matter with him? He didn't have no crutches last night.
Of course not. He's just faking.
Well, gosh, Unc, if he isn't hurt, what's the idea of the crutches?
Oh, he wants to impress his lawyer. He wants to impress everybody. Well, if that's his game, I can do better than that.
How? What you gonna do, Unc?
I'm going down to Peavy's drugstore and get me a wheelchair.
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Well, hello. Hello, Peavy.
You weren't in yesterday.
Yes, I've been pretty busy. Lawsuits and whatnot. Say, Peavy, you rent crutches, don't you?
Yes, I do maintain a pair of crutches here.
That's what I thought. Well,
More as a service to my customers than anything else. Not much profit in it.
I suppose not. Well,
Most of the time, they just lie there in the back room eating up their overhead.
Well, what I wanted to know...
Every time I go to make up a prescription, I fall over them. Very annoying.
I can imagine. Very monotonous, too. What I wanted to ask you,
I'm thinking of giving them up altogether.
I wish you would. I wish you'd forget them, too. What I want to know is, Peavy, did you rent those crutches to Judge Hooker?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. Just this morning.
I knew it. Now tell me, Peavy, just between you and me, when Judge Hooker came in here for him, was he limping?
Well, I wouldn't say he was limping exactly, no.
Good. In other words, you're prepared to testify that up to the time he rented those crutches, he appeared to be in just as good shape as you or I.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Well, as good shape as you, anyway.
Well,
I mean, no limp or anything, just his normal slouch. You'll testify to that, won't you, Peavy?
Well, I don't know that I'd care to testify to anything.
Now, don't get scared, Peavy. I'm not going to drag you into court. I'm just trying to line up a few facts and witnesses, just in case.
I know, but a man can't be too careful, Mr. Gildersleeve. Circumstantial evidence, you know.
What's circumstantial about it?
Well, take yourself. Now, you'd say you were in good health, wouldn't you?
Never better.
You look well, too.
Thank you.
But do we know, Mr. Gildersleeve? Do we know?
What do you mean?
You might drop dead any minute.
What?
It's a fact. I had a man come in here one day perfectly well. Just felt a little funny, that's all. And all of a sudden, he dropped dead right where you're standing. Oh, don't move. It was just a heart attack.
Oh, just a little heart attack, eh? Peavy, will you tell me what all this has got to do with whether Hooker needs crutches or not? That's what I'm trying to find out.
I'm afraid I couldn't express an opinion on that. Professional ethics, you know. After all, I'm a pharmacist.
I'm not asking your opinion as a pharmacist. I'm asking your opinion as a crutch renter.
Well, I will say this, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Yes?
Crutches never hurt anybody.
Yes. Oh, Peavy, you make me tired. Why don't you ever give anybody a straight answer? All you can say is, well, now, I wouldn't say that.
Well, now, I wouldn't say that.
Goodbye! Goodbye.
Throckmorton. I'm glad you got here early.
Yeah, so am I. Ooh, you look beautiful in that dress, Leela.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, much too good for a committee meeting. Couldn't we go out?
Now, Throckmorton, I've got things to do before the others get here.
Yeah, so I.
Throckmorton.
Oh, please, Leela. Just one little kiss for the Red Cross.
Well, just one.
What's that? You told me the others weren't coming till 8 o'clock. I thought I'd have a chance to... Well, I thought I'd have it... Who the devil is it anyway?
Well, I think... Well, Judge Hook always knocks like that.
Hooker? I thought you said he wasn't coming.
Well, no, I didn't, Throckmorton. I said he wasn't on the committee.
Well, what's the idea of him hanging around here with secret knocks on my fiancé's door? By George, if I lay my hands on him...
Throckmorton, please, go in the dining room and wait. I'll think of some excuse to send him home.
Well, all right. But make it quick, Leela. I'm liable to lose my temper.
Hush. You can listen to everything I say.
I will anyway.
Why, Horace Hooker, what a surprise to see you. Come right in, won't you?
Thank you, Leela. Well, aren't you going to ask me why I'm on crutches?
Oh, are you? Oh, why, goodness gracious, so you are. Horace, it's your lumbago again, and you shouldn't be out in this weather. You go right home, you hear?
It's not my lumbago, Leela.
Now, Horace, don't be vain. You said it wasn't lumbago last time, and you had to go to bed for a week.
Leela, I'm not suffering from any organic complaint. I'm walking on crutches because of your fiancé.
Really, Horace?
Yeah, he drives his car around this town like a murderer.
Who's a murderer?
Oh...
Well, is that Mr. Gildersleeve in the dining room, Leela?
Yes, Judge.
I wouldn't have come here if I'd known he'd be here.
Neither would I.
Oh, please, Judge. Let me talk to him for just a minute. Perhaps you wait here.
Well,
please.
All right.
Throckmorton, I asked her to be quiet while I talked to Horace.
You want me to stand there like a wooden Indian while he calls me a murderer?
Oh. Now, honey, he didn't call you a murderer exactly. He was just telling me about his injury.
His injury? There's nothing the matter with him.
Throckmorton, he's on crutches and it's your fault.
He doesn't need those crutches. But if you don't quit calling me a murderer, he will.
Leela, I didn't know you allowed criminals in your house.
Who's calling people criminals?
I've been doing it for 20 years and I've never missed yet.
Leela, I swore yesterday I'd never speak to that old goat again.
But Throckmorton...
I'll never speak to that fat windbag.
Horace, please.
Tell him this, Leela. There's nothing lower than an ambulance chaser.
Tell him I'll sue him for that.
Yes. All he can think of is suing people, pushing innocent people through the knotholes in the law.
Throckmorton.
Tell the big coward to shut up.
Who's a coward? Tell him to lay down his crutches, Leela, and I'll knock his block off.
Tell him to come ahead.
Boys, stop.
Oh, Leela, what's the matter?
What is it, Leela?
Y'all gonna spoil my whole committee meeting.
Now look what you did, Hooker.
Me? I'm sorry, Leela.
I'm sorry, too, Leela.
I don't believe you, either one of you.
Leela, I've been a bad boy.
I have too, Leela.
Oh, you've both been awful. Now you've got to promise me you won't fight any more.
Well...
Oh, I knew you weren't sorry.
Well, I won't fight any more.
No, neither will I, Leela. We won't fight any more, Leela.
Honestly?
On my honor as a judge.
On my honor as a gentleman.
That's not the way I like to hear you boys talk. Now shake hands.
Yeah.
That's fine. Now you stay friends. I've got to get a clean handkerchief.
I don't mean a word of this, Gildersleeve. I've been seriously injured, and I'm going to sue you tomorrow for $100,000.
I'm not even surprised to hear it, Hooker. But I'll tell you right now, I'll fight you all the way up to the Supreme Court, and if I lose there, I won't pay.
Oh, is that so?
Yes. You don't need those crutches, and you know it.
Prove it.
Prove it, I'll...
Oh, that's the way I like to see my two boys. As friendly as two clams in a stew. What were y'all talking about?
Post-war planning.
Oh, that's awfully interesting. Why don't we all sit down for a minute?
Sit down, all right.
Thank you.
I think post-war planning is just as important as rationing, don't you?
I do indeed. In fact, I was...
I'll go, Leela.
No, let me go. Don't forget, Gildersleeve. None but the quick deserve the fair.
Oh, is that so, Judge?
What are you laughing at?
At you old goat. You forgot your crutches.
Unc, what do you think? I got a job today.
Well, that's splendid, my boy. What is the job?
It's a cinch. All I have to do is deliver things. I got one here for you.
Well, a messenger, huh?
Unc, what's a summons?
Leroy. Good night, everybody.
Music on this program was under the direction of Claude Sweeten. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company and inviting you to listen in again next week for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve.
Right now, which is the most important economy in your food budget? Money or red ration points? Well, most likely the answer is both. So there's no better time to get acquainted with foods like Parquet, the quality margarine made by Kraft. For Parquet costs just 5 red ration stamps and so little money. And yet it has a delicate, appetizing flavor that really satisfies. Yes, you'll like the taste of Parquet spread on bread and toast and rolls, and you'll like it as a seasoning for hot-cooked vegetables, too. If you bake your own cakes and cookies, you'll find Parquet is a real flavor shortening. And it's grand for pan frying. What's more, Parquet is a highly nutritious energy food, and it contains important vitamin A. If your dealer doesn't have Parquet margarine the first time you ask, it's because of wartime shortages and because Parquet is growing more popular every day. But Kraft is doing everything possible to keep all dealers supplied. So watch for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y, Parquet margarine made by Kraft. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.